I feel kind of sick. Come on, Marty, pass it on.
It's stimulating, mind expanding, safer to use than alcohol. It's the in thing.
Do you have anything to say?
Judge, he's a good boy.
Although Australia is a pretty progressive nation, we've fallen behind on the integration of the cannabis plant. Not only medicinal, but food, textile and the construction industry too. Medical cannabis was made legal in Australia in 2016, yet it's still not getting into the hands of people in need. Morning guys, we're here at United in Compassion. It's a medical cannabis conference on the Gold Coast. It's a super inspiring story. Lucy Haslam, through losing her son, has got politicians, doctors, industry professionals, growers. They've all come together to speak on behalf of medical cannabis on where it is now and where it's going.
So my name is David Caldicott. I'm an emergency physician based in Canberra, creator of the Australian Medicinal Cannabis course. I think medicinal cannabis is inevitable in Australia. It's just a question of how long patients have to wait and how many patients have to suffer before it's actually introduced.
Similar to America, you have to pay to play at the table of the commercial cannabis sphere. With only 6 active growing licenses within Australia, only one of them being privately owned, that means the rest are traded on the stock market, which is a relatively new idea.
If you can imagine, our greenhouse has thousands of medical cannabis plants growing, but row 1 is for epilepsy, row 2 is for chronic pain.
G'day, I'm Richard Di Natale, leader of the Australian Greens. We've been campaigning on drug law reform and in particular medicinal cannabis and also recreational cannabis law reform for a number of years now. When it comes to medicinal cannabis, I think we're very close to getting a set of rules in place that mean that people can get access to medicinal cannabis when they need it. I think when it comes to legalisation of recreational cannabis, the journey's going to be a bit longer. We're seeing huge changes around the world. We're seeing what's happening in places like Canada, referendum now around the corner in New Zealand. I do hope that within the next few years, Australia moves on. We have a mature, evidence-based conversation about why it makes so much sense to take this out of the hands of criminals and to put it within a regulated health framework.
The system is broken, yet I can feel the energy behind this plant. It's come a long way since the stereotypical hippie in the 70s growing pot in their backyard. With all these brilliant minds that we've met over the filming of this documentary, I know it will reach its full potential.
Hi, my name's Thomas. I work for the Office of Drug Control. One of the key things to keep in mind when we're talking about the difference between cannabis and industrial hemp is that medicinal cannabis, is essentially a medicinal product designed to be used under Australian manufacturing standards to give you a good quality medicine, whereas industrial hemp is an exempt product under the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs 1961, which states that countries can regulate industrial hemp for fibre and seed production only. So at the moment, industrial hemp in Australia is regulated through states and territories, and it's only allowed to be used for fibres and for seed, which means you can use seed to make various hemp seed drinks and things like that, and you can use fibres to make t-shirts and ropes and so on and so forth. One of the areas that people are talking about the use of industrial hemp is into things like cosmetics, to use the hemp flower itself as a foodstuff rather than just the seeds. At the moment, that would not be lawful. However, there's opportunities as time goes on for that single convention to reconsider the various other uses of industrial hemp. But until such time as Australia takes some fairly lenient interpretations on the United Nations Single Convention, we're restricted to hemp and hemp seed and hemp fibre only.
Away from commercial gain, Australians need to come together to grow the cannabis industry from within our shores. The opportunities are limitless when once again this plant is recognised for its worth to society. If only humans were to get out of the way of this plant and let it grow and flower to its full potential.